Hi, I'm Robin Brown Hewitt. I'm the United Church chaplain at Dalhousie with the Multi-Faith Center. Usually on Mondays, I'm offering a free meal called the Monday Night Meal, but as of yet this term, we can't get together to do that. However, we are meeting different people around campus who have something to do with food. I'm really delighted to welcome our guest for this clip, Professor Sylvain Charlebois, and he has to do with all things food. So I'm simply going to hand it over to Sylvain and thank him very much for joining us.
Well, thank you very much, Robin, for the invitation. When I'm invited to speak to students, I always say yes. So my name is Sylvain Charlebois. I'm the director of the Agri-Food Analytics Lab here at Dalhousie. And our job is to understand the future of food. And so we work with governments, we work with companies, we work with NGOs all over the country to really understand really what's happening, especially when it comes to food security. We're working with the province of Nova Scotia, the province of New Brunswick, Quebec, and Ontario on food security related projects. I personally I've worked very closely with Food Banks Canada, with different food banks in the country, including the Regina Food Bank in Saskatchewan, the Kitchener-Waterloo Food Bank, the Ottawa Food Bank, Mississauga, here Feed Nova Scotia. I've worked on many different projects with food banks because I actually believe that food banks are incredible. They provide a service that really no one can as quickly, and we saw that with COVID. I mean, the response was just magical. It was amazing, and a lot of people need it, and a lot of our students unfortunately need it. No governmental programs can actually respond as quickly, as efficiently as food banks can, and we have a food bank here on campus, and based on what Robin just told me, it seems that it's getting busier, unfortunately. Things aren't great economically, but hey, food connects us all, and I'm sure Robin agrees with that, and there are things you can do as a student to make your life better with food. We just actually released a study on food waste. Food waste is really a huge problem. It is the one food bill you never get, but you have to pay. Often you'll prepare food, you'll order food perhaps, you'll go to a restaurant if you have some time, and there's always leftovers, there's always stuff, and sometimes you may actually put some stuff in the fridge, in the cupboard, in the freezer, and you'll forget about it. You'll go to the grocery store and you may actually decide, you may actually overspend, you may actually buy things you don't really need. And so those are things that really you can do better. What we've noticed is that a lot of Canadians don't realize what they have in their freezer, what they have in their cupboards and fridge, and they're not as disciplined. Since the beginning of COVID, we actually are seeing more Canadians becoming more disciplined as they show up to the grocery store. Students, especially first year students, they're living on their own for the first time. My own son actually is now attending Dal in his first year in health, and he's figuring this out right now. So what we're noticing is that he doesn't really know how to plan. He doesn't know how to, set up a list and things like that. So we're teaching him. We actually did the cooking part at home, but what happens before, we didn't really train them properly. I suspect a lot of you guys are like that, and so you want to be careful with the planning part as much as possible. And so you want a list. You want to show up at the grocery store with a plan, and don't show up at the grocery store hungry. That's the most important thing, because if you do, you'll buy too much and you'll buy a lot of food that may not be good for you. That's the worst part. And so, and then when you look at what you need to buy, of course, produce, vegetables and fruits are really important. The problem with fruits and vegetables is that you can actually lose them very quickly. If you overbuy, if you don't plan appropriately, within a few days you can spoil a lot of stuff, and produce is very expensive. That's the one category you really need to be careful with. With meat and other products like bakery, you can always put it in the freezer, but not produce. You have to process, you have to do something else with it. So be careful when you buy fruits and vegetables. I would say try not to buy for more than 2 days worth of produce, and if you do that, you won't waste as much. Food, you want to go out for a coffee with friends once in a while, but don't do it too much because it is very costly. You will save. Even though food prices are going up, and food prices are going up 4% this year, if you don't go out as much to the restaurant, you will spend less on food even though food prices are going up. So just be careful out there. Be disciplined and try to process your own food as much as possible. In other words, cook, take ownership of the food you eat, and you'll be fine. And on that, I wish you a great semester.
Thank you, Sylvain. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time on Monday Night Minutes.